Yeah, Coach Clark, just a lot of turnover at your position. Can you sort of give us a sense of some of the players you got out of the portal and maybe if anybody's caught your eye? I know it's still early, but kind of try to assess specifically the portal defensive backs that you guys were able to bring in here at mid-year.
Yeah, so first, kind of the first guy we got our hands on was Taj Rael, who actually played for me at Memphis, which was the last place I was at. And he was able to transfer and was able to get him here. So it's good to have him here, just knowing his abilities, knowing kind of where he's at as far as a football player, and the defensive back, and how he should be able to come in and contribute. Then Crew Wakely played at BYU. He's a really good player. Was very productive over there. Kind of split time. He kind of wanted to go somewhere where he can have the potential to be the guy. With 2 years left to play, and I thought he was a great addition for us as well. Chad Brown, was out in the Mountain West. Actually, it's kind of a funny story. When UNLV played Devon Reno last year, I guess he made some plays on the sideline, and him and Coach Odom kind of had some back and forth. So that was good. So when he had an opportunity to go on the portal, it was good to get him. Richard Tony is another guy that at TCU kind of was behind the All American, and Bud Clark over there. So again, opportunity to come in and play in the Big Ten. He saw a lot of value in that. And then Ryan Turner, another guy that actually started at BC, uh, but was kind of looking for maybe just whether it's coaches or whatever the case scheme or whatever the case may have been. But he's signed out of high school at Ohio State. So a guy that has the potential to play at this level already to be able to return back to it. I just saw a lot of value in those guys, and we got our freshman that came in as well, Bernard Cobb, who's doing some really good stuff in the weight room, moving around well as well. So, and then they just along with the guys that was already here. I know it's a lot of turnover, to be honest with you. I don't know how much because I wasn't here. But I see the guys in the weight room, and on the field and conditioning and stuff, moving around well. And here in a couple of weeks when we hit the field, we'll get a feel for all those guys.
Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah, along those lines, just wanted to get your impressions of Smiley Bradford and Nori Hines, two guys who were here last year, and Coach Shara had mentioned them specifically as guys who he had seen. Anything that stood out about them so far?
Yeah, those two guys, first and foremost, I think they got really high football IQs, along with some other guys that was already here as well. They move around, in drills and stuff right now. And I have a good feeling about them. But once we get the pads and stuff on and really get to playing football, we'll get a better feel for it. But I love the fact those guys is here. They played college football before, along with some of the other guys that are here as well. And looking forward to this spring.
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, Coach Sam King from the Journal and Courier. You mentioned all these guys and where they played before, but they were playing. How valuable is that when you're trying to, start something new, getting experienced players at a position that lost pretty much everybody with experience?
I mean, that's huge. That's the one thing we cannot substitute for. I don't care how much we practice. Game day experience is critical at that position. Because again, whether it's a good play or bad play, you gotta be able to clear that play and be ready to play the next one. Because we make a mistake in the back end, we know how that result turns out. And so we can't afford those. So the guys that have played a lot of football, seen a lot of football, is always good if you can find those guys in the portal.
And then another one, real quick. You were at a place that won a lot. What intrigued you about coming to Purdue and kind of rebuilding something from a program that really struggled the last couple of years?
First and foremost, I mean, just Purdue and the tradition that it's had before. Actually, one of my high school teammates played here, Cliff Averill. Me and him played on the same high school team. So just, going back even, before then, had a lot of great tradition, won a lot of games here. And just a couple of years ago, I mean, they won the Big Ten, championship. So I think we have all the resources needed to do that. We had a facility, so we had a fan base. I think we got the coaching staff now, and then also, we just got to go and get the players and return back to that. So just opportunity being the Big Ten. compete for a conference. Last place I was at, did win a lot of games. And I, wouldn't be surprised if they make a jump at some point. But just also Coach Odom, and Coach Shear, just talking to them, and everybody that I asked, around in the coach profession about those two guys are great men first, so better men, and then just great coaches as well. Played great defense everywhere they've been. I played a lot of good defense everywhere I've been. So just that opportunity, I thought it was a great opportunity to make that next step.
Go back to Tom.
Coach, depth at your position. How do you feel with your numbers? Do you think you're going to need to get some portal help for the defensive backfield in that April window?
That's an interesting question. We kind of talked about it as a staff, because as you continue, you always want to add depth, right? You always want to add better guys. That's what recruiting is for, right? Is try to go get guys that's just as good or better than the guys you got, and that's not going to stop. But with the number being reduced down to 105, we got to kind of make sure we're on the same page across the board, across the team with that, and like I said, we'll have a better understanding of where the depth is at. But if you can add better guys, and build some depth, that's always great. So again, we have to go through the spring first and get a feel for kind of where we're at right now, and where the numbers need to be, and as far as what things we're going to do on defense. And I think that's a better question for the end of the spring to kind of see where we're at.
Go back to Nathan.
I know the actual football playing hasn't really kicked in yet necessarily, but anybody that's jumped out to you in terms of other measurables, like just pure speed, strength, those sorts of things? Anybody that's kind of
I will say this, guy that I forgot to mention, I should say earlier, when talking about the Porter guys, the guy that came over from UNLV with coaching the staff is Tony Grimes. He has stepped up and accepted, probably being a leader in that back end. Done a great job of communicating with guys. Yes, he's doing a lot of good stuff on the field, but I tell you what, all the great teams I've been a part of have leaders, and he's definitely one. And I look forward to watching him continue to watch him grow on the field, but also in the leadership role as well.
Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach. Coach Shear talked about, wanting to show a bunch of different things as a defense as a whole. Just how does that impact you guys on the back end, and how versatile you guys have to be?
Well, I think it's a good thing. Last place I was at, we did a lot of that stuff. We went from, whether it's 3 down to 4 down to, even the 3-3-5, deal that people are running nowadays. I think it just makes it tough on quarterbacks nowadays. As good as those guys are with receivers and quarterbacks being able to, basically play 7-on-7 out there. If you just sit at one defense, be able to change up that picture and make it hard for the quarterback. I think that's a great idea, and I love the scheme of it. And just so far as we talk about it in the defensive staff room, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to, do a lot of that stuff. And then on the back end, it's coverage is coverage, right? We just disguise it and make it look like, one thing and play something else. But at the end of the day, we got to go cover.
Anything else for Coach Clark?
Can you give us a good Cliff Averill story from the high school days?
Cliff. So, we had to beg Cliff to play football, actually. Cliff thought, coming out of middle school, and I think he was at, already 6'3", 6'4", whatever it was. He was a big time, quote unquote, basketball player at the time. And, we begged and begged and begged, and he didn't really play football until he got to high school. And so finally got him out there on the football field, and, done well for himself. Had the opportunity to come here to Purdue. Was an amazing player here, went on into the NFL. And then, like I said, Super Bowl champion, and a great career there, and retired now. So, but yeah, we had to beg Cliff to play football, man. And I'd never forget, we were playing in Tallahassee. I want to say Tallahassee Leon High School on a Friday night. And Tiff, we were there, my team was a smaller team. We played both ways, and Cliff was a tight end on offense. And I played quarterback my senior year, and had like just a basic QB run, like a counter. And I actually ended up running into Cliff and hurting his knee. He had to miss, I want to say, the rest of the season that year with a knee injury. So my bad, Cliff, man. I didn't mean to hurt you, but hey, you got healthy and you bounced back your senior year and had a heck of a career.
Anything else? All right.
I look forward to getting him up here too. I talked to him when I first took the job, and he said he'd definitely get back up here. So I'm trying to get him up here this spring and then also to a couple of games this year as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach.